Is an encore presentation. Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hi everybody, welcome to OMTimes Radio with Joy of Business, and you're with Simone Milasas, your host. I have a pretty different show today, so let's see how I handle this, because instead of just having one guest or even two guests, I have a bunch of guests. A lot of zebra is called a dazzle. I'm calling this a bunch, okay? So just in case you didn't know, a dazzle of zebra, this is a bunch of guests. So welcome everybody. I will introduce you, we've got Anne Maxwell, we've got Sylvia, we've got Christine, we've got Adele at the moment. We may have a couple more just dropping in. So now who are all these people? Well, the name of this show is called Creating Education as a Successful Business. So within Access Consciousness, one of the things that I want to get through to everyone about business is that it's always changing. And it's like you have to be willing to allow your business to change. And years and years and years and years and years ago, myself and a colleague, Blossom Benedict, created this whole access camp for kids. You know, we had the whole thing. We even had, we had the brochures, we had all the legal stuff done, we had the teachers, we had the venue, we had what the whole access camp for kids was going to look like using the access consciousness tools, etc. We had all of that sorted. And then when it came down to it, we had no kids. And we were like, oh, we sort of need kids to make this business work. But the one thing we didn't do was destroy what we had created. And we had a fabulous website. We had everything. It looked awesome. And then we were like, okay, so there's no kids. So we didn't destroy the future possibilities. We kept asking questions. It was like, what else is possible? What else could we create? Now, many years later, we keep getting requests for kids a different way with school. And it's like, have a different possibility. So one of the things we ended up doing was opening up a school in Queensland, Australia. Now, we opened up the school in Queensland, Australia. We had this big, huge house that we rented with a great backyard. It had horses and there was veggie gardens in there and everything, and the kids got to, learn and play with the earth and the land, etc. I think there was even kangaroos in the backyard. So, good Aussie school. And, but then what happened was, after quite a few months, we realized so many of the kids were traveling a long way, like, an hour and a half to get to school there, an hour and a half to get back. And it sort of became a little bit more of a burden on the parents than we had anticipated. So we ended up closing the school down. But we didn't also go to the place of like, we've destroyed this idea and nothing else can happen. We still asked questions. And one of the things we realized was, what if we had an online school? Because there was kids all over the world going, I wish I lived in Queensland. I wish I could go to this school. And it was like, okay, so what if we created that? So this is over a long period of time. And this is one thing I really want everyone to get who's listening to the show, that when you have a business, things don't necessarily show up overnight. And they can. They can show up overnight, but they don't necessarily, they're not that quick. And it's like, it could be over a long period of time, 10 years, etc. We need somebody to mute themselves big time. Thanks. And so the whole, we started this online school, and Anne Maxwell sort of picked the ball up and was like, okay, Gary Douglas was like, can you create this? So she started creating the school. And then there was so many different aspects of it that is involved. And of course, you don't have to know everything about your business. And you have to know everything about your business, be aware of it. And it's like, you don't have to do everything. So we started including more and more people within this. And then we found some amazing, awesome teachers who we have on the call today. And it's like, and the business started changing. And then just recently in Costa Rica, we were talking about what else is possible, what else could we create. And I was, in the shower after horse riding in Costa Rica, getting a bit cranky at myself because I still couldn't speak Spanish after being there for 14 years. I was like, I'd love to talk to these horse guys, and I can't speak Spanish. And at the same time, I'm pretty sure Sylvia, who's one of our teachers who's on here today, was suggesting that maybe we have these language courses for kids. So then we opened the whole school up to a different possibility of what if it was also an access, because the school is called Access Possibility School. So it's like, what if we also opened it up to the languages? So now, starting on, I think it's the 8th of September, we have Spanish starting, and then we have French also, and we have English. You can actually learn to speak English. And what else do we have, guys, starting on the 8th?
I think those are the three.
Those three.
And we also have school starting for kids,
elementary school.
ages K through 8. I just spoke with a parent last night who is really interested in her 12-year-old registering for a class, and a couple of others that have contacted me. And then I had another phone call with somebody from India who's really interested in getting a program going in India, and it just keeps on creating itself.
Keeps on creating itself. I love that. So it's like everywhere that you don't actually allow your business to keep on creating itself, and you try so desperately to, control it yourself, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
Times a godzillion, writing on good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you're wondering what that, crazy clearing statement is, go to theclearingstatement.com. So, I know we've got a break in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to start out with creating, let me have a look at this. So creating the team, Anne Maxwell, and I know Diva's on there. She's out there and somewhere in the UK, I think in Dublin, on mute because she's out in the street and it's noisy. But it's like creating the team, and it's like, tell me more about how you looked at creating the team to work with the school.
It was so interesting because I really just asked questions. Gary had said, Gary said, call this lady who lives in California, and so I called her, and for a while she and I were a team, and then Simone Milasas is somebody who I absolutely adore, who loves kids like I do, like we all do on this school team, and who has been, truthfully, Simone, I have no idea where she came from or what that idea was about Simone joining. But for a while, it was the three of us, and then the lady in California dropped out, and for a while, it was just Simone Milasas and me. And we kept on asking questions and kept on speaking, and it hasn't always been a smooth ride, right? I mean, there's sometimes where you hit, and stuff comes up, and it's not always like total ease and total everything, and you just keep on asking questions and keep on moving. There's that whole idea about quicksand that Gary talks about, that life is like quicksand, and the minute you stop moving, that's when you start to sink, and that's where you get stuck. But if you keep asking questions and keep moving, everything changes, and that's what we did, and it really was, you got involved in a really big way about 6 months ago or 7 months ago, and the team expanded in a way that I didn't even know was possible. And I don't know that I sort of picked anybody to be involved. It's like I asked questions and these people just showed up, right? And we have one of the most amazing, diverse teams I have ever worked with in my entire life, and not one of us has sort of a duplicate, a skill that's duplicated, and what we are together is so much greater than what we are separately. It's like what we are separately exponentialized times a bazillion when we function together.
That is so well put, Anne. I love that. And it's like one of the things I'd like to add too, that if you are creating a team, because the thing is too, it's like there is no conclusion. Like there's not even a conclusion now, even though we've got like, you go, the dream team. It's like, but the dream team can change. And it's like, and you've got to be willing to have a look at what energy is required to create the business to expand, even if it means that some people get uncomfortable. Because I see so often that people get really comfortable with like the current people that they work with. But in truth, there's something else that's required to create that discomfort that's actually going to create the business to expand even more. I mean, I'm so grateful that when we went, okay, let's do an online school, and it's like, the school is not just for kids, it's for adults now as well.
Right.
And it was like, and it's, everyone just immediately jumped on board. Like there was this energy where it was just like, oh yeah, great idea. And it's like, and the thing is too, it's like looking at how many more revenue streams can we create? So how often in a business do people not look at how many more revenue streams can you create and how many more revenue streams can you add to the business? I mean, we've got all these languages now, and it's like, I think we started to sell out of the Spanish classes so quickly. Of course, because we have Access Consciousness has this amazing, 7-day event happening in October. So I think everyone felt the same way as me. They've been going to Costa Rica for years, and it's like, seriously? And they still can't speak to the locals? So, but there's still room. So if anyone wants to sign up, where do they go to?
They can go to the Access Possibilities School, and under programs, one of the tabs up above, you'll have a sub-menu there that says Adult Programs, and you can select Spanish 101 to start the Spanish series, a 5-week series beginning September 8th.
Nice. And there's also 2 times you can do it, because I know for us Aussies, the morning in California we'd be fast asleep. We probably wouldn't be very good Spanish students. So there are, so there's worldwide times. There's no excuse not to start learning your Spanish straight away. So I know we're off to...
Simone, if I could add something, you were talking about, when, the energy of adding the adult classes came in. And at that moment in class when we looked at, what was working, what wasn't working, what we could change, there was such this incredible energy. And then it was all of a sudden like, oh, adult Spanish class was like, yes. And I remember in the moment, it was like there was a choice to be made. And it was just like, yes. And without knowing all the details, like really trusting that energy that feels expansive, that's going to grow your business without getting stuck on all the details, like that ended up showing up quickly. And it really was the team of the staff, the team, and the whole school. I mean, all the people that are behind the scenes, in a sense, working on the website and the links. But for me, it's like I'm beginning to recognize that as, I choose my business and as I expand my businesses, that's one of the key elements that I'm noticing creates expansion for me. It's like willing to choose it without having all the details. And that was so apparent in the moment.
Yeah, nice. I like it. And the thing is, too, I love that because the energy of it, it's like one person jumps on, it just goes boom, 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 boom. It's like hard to sort of sit in any place of limitation when everyone else is so enthusiastic and excited. It's like, let's go. What else is possible? And it is choosing things like that, going into a place
What
of
if
the
business
unknown.
could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram @JoyOfBusiness or Twitter @JoyOfBusiness and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Circle of Hearts Radio is the sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Joy Business on OMTimes with Simone Milasas and my bunch of guests that are here. Okay, so I wanted to start just chatting with some of the teachers here. That is Access Possibility School. Now, the website you go to is accesspossibilityschool.com. And the website you go, accesspossibilityschool.com. Hang on one second. And everything happens here live in Houston, Texas. People knocking at the door and everything, even on a pre-record. So how does it get any better than that? Adele, it's like you're teaching English, which I think is one of the most interesting things in the world. I was talking about it the other day to a friend, and we're like, how do you teach English when you don't actually understand the other language to people? So it's like, I'd love it if you could give us a little bit of background, a few hints on what that sort of looks like on teaching English to people who you don't speak their language.
Yeah. Well, there's so many other pieces to communication besides the words and the language. And so it's finding that common ground and empowering people to communicate. I was actually just reading a story about someone in Costa Rica who spent a day and was able to communicate with local people and have a wonderful day without speaking the language. And once you've established that, then you can start to fill in the words and create that piece as well. So it's using what people do know to create that bridge.
So what's some of the languages that you've worked with?
Well, so, I mean, I've studied languages. Languages is one of my interests and fascinations. So I've experienced it with people who speak French. I've done it with people who speak Spanish, people who speak Hebrew. So, and it really, it doesn't really matter what the language is. It's really, again, building that bridge and that starting point.
So can you give me an example? Pretend that you're starting to, I don't speak English at all. It's like, what are you going to start with? Oh, and by the way, guys, we have this really cool program that we're going to be using with the school, and it's called Zoom. I think we should start selling stocks to it or something because we're all using it and talking about it. But Zoom is really cool. It's like, I think of it like the Brady Bunch thing, you know. It's like you can have all these, everyone has a camera on them, and you can choose audio if you want, but it's really fun to have the camera on you and so that you can see everyone else. And it's like, and you can see where everyone else is at. And, you know, I say the whites of their eyes. It's like the expressions on their face. So, Adele, what would happen if we're all in a school, we don't speak English, and then it's like day one, and it's like you're starting out, you know, teaching us English. What do you start with?
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you brought up Zoom because that's a big part of it is that it's visual. So, you know, I would encourage people to maybe take words and label it. So I would have a picture and we would look at maybe a door and it says door on it and then sounding it out so that we're using that platform to the maximum and using the visual piece as well because people know what a door is. They know what that is in their language. And then putting a word to it and connecting that.
Nice. I like it. And then, I mean, I think it's amazing. I think but this is the thing, and this is what you've got to get with business as well. I mean, to me, I think what Adele does would be one of the hardest, like if you asked me to do that, I think it would be one of the hardest things in the world. But then, do you want me to organize a seminar with hundreds of people coming from all over the world and doing all of that? Oh, easy. I've got that handled, you know. So it's like, but everybody has different capacities, as what Anne was saying. And it's like, and if you are willing to actually receive the capacities and the contribution that everyone has, then it's incredible the sort of team that you can create. And I see with the school that everybody is constantly contributing to everybody else. So I'm really super, super, super excited. And the interesting thing is too, I've noticed that every single person that we've worked with, like whether it's the guy, you know, building our SIS or the website or whatever it is, and it's like they're all like, wow, this is exactly what the world needs, is this online school. So Anne, can I ask you a couple of questions just to explain a little bit about, you know, how you can be our spokesperson about how we see sort of like the online school, like what is this? Why is this so different?
The online school is different for so many reasons, but first of all, online means that it's that kids take their classes. The way it's been described by some kids is, I get to go to school on my iPad, and so there's a certain amount of time during the day where they're going to be on the screen with a teacher and in a classroom where they're going to be able to see all the other kids who are in the classroom as well. That's the technology of Zoom that you mentioned, Simone. And then there'll be other parts of the day where they'll go off and they'll do projects, but they'll come back and there'll be constant daily interaction with kids. Our school is an online, private school, and what most online schools do is, first of all, they're usually attached to a public school that's already existing, like they're called brick and mortar schools, so they're usually attached to a public school, a private school, a charter school, or a church school. And ours is the only one that I've ever found that is not attached to any school or any entity, if you will. And the thing that makes us so different from other online schools is the degree of interaction between teachers and students and between students and students. Most online schools are places where a student will go and download an assignment and then do this assignment and then upload it, and once in a while we'll get an email from the teacher saying either attaboy or not so great, you need to work on this, and if they're lucky they'll get a phone call. And most teachers in online schools have student loads of like 220 to 250 kids. In our school, our teachers are going to have no more than 15 to 20 kids each. And the degree, the thing that I love about the school is that it provides a space for kids who are struggling in regular school. They're at either end of the spectrum. They can be either the really brilliant ones or the ones who are also really brilliant, and yet they're so different that they've been labeled, and they're the ones that are the outliers that get put into special ed classrooms. These are the kids who hate going to school because they don't fit in, because they're made fun of, because they're so different. And these are the kids who actually can thrive, who actually do thrive online. The ones who can't sit still, the ones who are 3 or 4 classes ahead, the ones who are stuck in a program that won't teach to them where they actually are. So
sounds good. Sounds super exciting.
Sorry.
Hey, I just wanted to bring Christine in here too, because Christine's the principal. She's the principal, so we don't get in trouble. No. So everything that is never really you thought that a principal would get you in trouble. Can you destroy and uncreate it? And everything that all the points of view, all the limitations that you have about school, times a gazillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. We've got about 5 minutes before we go off to the next break, but I just wanted to bring in Christine. How do you see it? I mean, have you been a principal before?
I have not been a principal before. My background is as a teacher in physical education, and this is what's been so amazing to me. In my discussions with Anne, we talked a lot, and she said to me, would you like to do some administrative work? And I said, yeah, I'd really like to do that. And then she said, would you like to be the principal? And without thought, it was just like everyone was saying before, just following the energy of yes. And then when I sat down to write my bio, I realized how many administrative duties and tasks that I've taken on over the 32 years. So what's been really cool for me is to see how this has been created so quickly. I jumped on board early in June, and the way public education usually functions is things take many, many months and many, many years to institute something new. And so I've seen in the 2 months that I've been involved such a dramatic change in the creation of the school. And just even with the change in adding the adult programs, as we sat in the class, the Skypes were going back and forth, and it was being created during that 45-minute to 1-hour discussion. And this does not happen in education, in regular public education. So it's been really cool.
And then there's people in the class going, can I register? Can I register? And as soon as Stephanie, who works with us, who's absolutely brilliant, it's like as soon as Stephanie announced it and went, yeah, you can register here, it was just like, bam, there was like people registering everywhere.
15, just like
15. Awesome.
Yeah.
How does it getting better than that? I love it. But hey, thanks for mentioning that timeline too, Christine, because, you know, I'm not that great with time, and it's like sometimes I get, you know, lost in it. I feel like we've been doing it forever, but we haven't. And it's like creating the school. It hasn't been that long. And what has occurred, and it's a very professional, you know, all the right credentials, hence why we have Christine as the principal. She ticks all the boxes that this reality says we need as a principal, and it's like it's been accredited to school, and it's like there's a whole lot of different things we're looking at. And it's like we've even had requests from different languages, like in Poland. It's like they'd like to join us as well, and it's like let's first get the English handled, and then we can maybe, you know, educate the kids in Poland as well. But there's a whole lot of, and we do have, if anyone's interested in going to the school, you don't just have to be living in the US. And it's like, our teachers are incredible, and they're also willing to, you know, maybe sleep odd hours or do odd things. And it's like, we have, I mean, you know, one of our teachers is actually based in the UK. And it's like, and then the others are based in the US. So we are going to schedule the timings of class, etc., around sort of who's joining the school. So if you have any interest at all, please go to the website and check it out, accesspossibilityschool.com, and give us some feedback as well. And it's like we've got a Facebook page, and it's like jump on that. Because this is, I mean, the one thing I've noticed, like when we were in India, I went there for one of Dane's classes recently, and this kid came up to me, and she was so grateful that we were starting the school, because she said she had been so abused at the school, not by her classmates, but by her teachers. And it's like, so how many kids are actually, you know, not finding it easy at school, as Anne was saying before? And it's like, what if this was not a solution, but this was, what if this was something that could contribute to your child actually creating a greater future and a greater possibility for them? And it's like, what would that look like? And it's like, if you had that possibility, it's like, would you choose it? So I'm going to be putting Nash, my son, into extra tutorial stuff because he travels with us quite a bit. And to him, he's just like, yay, I've got my iPad. I'm leaving school for 5 weeks. So he might get a little bit of a shock to the system. It would be like, and you're also going to be doing some extracurricular training on the online school. But I think he's going to enjoy it anyway. So, I mean, he loves, you know, playing on the computer and stuff like that too. So I think he's going to have a great time. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to talk to Sylvia about the Espanol, because she's going to be my new Spanish teacher. So what am I meant to be calling you, Sylvia?
Maestra Puentes.
Oh, no. I'm in trouble.
That'll be our first lesson.
I want to hear it. Okay, say it one more time. Maestra
Puentes. My last name.
Puentes. Yeah, I know. You don't have the easiest last name in the world. So it's like Maestra Puentes.
And Maestra is teacher, yes. Maestra.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Okay, Maestra Puentes. I'm going to be a really bad student. Can't find everything that is. So, okay. Miss Sylvia, tell us a little bit about more how, God, easy for me to say. Tell me a little bit more about how you see teaching Spanish, because I know that one thing you were really excited about is actually using the Access Consciousness tools as well.
Yes, and actually, when everything I do, I'm using the Access Consciousness tools, and as I've been working with kids and adults, one of the gifts of the Access Consciousness tools is the space of allowance and no judgment. That, as students, as teachers, it's like when we're that space and you are then clearing or noticing where those walls or limitations are up, and you begin to drop those, there's this ease to tap into what it is that you do know. So Spanish is a beautiful language. Both my parents are from Mexico. I grew up speaking Spanish, resisted it as a teenager, and then really got to see the beauty of it, the ease of it. And one of the things about Spanish is that it's so phonetic. So it is easy to learn. It is easy to read. And there's so many common words that we know that are English, that sound like English that, when you hear them in Spanish, like if I was to say, hospital, it's like you might guess what that is. Could you guess what that is?
Hospital?
Yes!
Yay! And we didn't set that up either. There was no cheating there. That was just random, like.
So it's beginning to tap into what it is that we do know, and then beginning to have the ease to put it together. And I'm just really, really thrilled. The platform that we have, the visual piece to it, be able to share our screen. So anything that I put up on my screen on my computer, all the students will be able to see. So there's just so many different things that we can do, and I'm just really excited because there are so many people eager to be able to speak it that have been traveling to Spanish-speaking countries, that now it's like, wow, what a gift. So I'm looking forward to having fun and following that.
I am too. And, I want to say that I just saw that you Skyped what I was meant to be saying. And interesting enough, because it's really interesting to see how people do pick things up. And as soon as I read it, Maestra Puentes. And it's like, to me, I feel like I did that better. Or even if I look away, I can see the spelling of it. So I know it's like the same when I learnt German. It's like if you can read German, you can pronounce it. You may not know what it means, but you can pronounce it because it's not like English where it's like I before, E after, like all of that different rules in English. It's like if you can read it, you can read it. So it's like it's interesting to see. As soon as I saw the words, that made it way easier. So I am super excited.
Yes, and how do you tap into, you begin to go, wow, how is it that is it a visual, is it the sound? Because everybody has one of those ways of learning that's stronger. And when you get to play with those and go, wow, that one's easier for me, the visual, and then it was in your, you had that image already, almost like an imprint of going, oh, that's what it looks like. So we'll get to play with lots of those things. So really looking forward to it.
Awesome. And I hear that Gary Douglas is also coming on to your Spanish class.
Yes. And Dane will be taking Spanish 102 that will begin in November. So I'm really thrilled to have them both in the class, all of you. So, yeah.
Awesome. So Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness, which is where all facilitators of Access Consciousness that are involved in the school as well. So the school is very much so also about empowering kids to know that they know. And it's like, what if we actually empowered our kids to know what they know? And it's like, it's not about, telling them to have the answer. What if we empowered them to have questions? What if we empowered them to choose what they know is right for them? So it's like, it is going to be a totally different school. And I strongly encourage you, if you're at home and your kid is not happy at school, check it out. And it's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You join up for a term and then go, oh, it didn't work out. And then you go back to something else. And it's like, but what if you gave it a shot? Because it's like, how many times do you get that awareness and that sort of feeling inside where you go, oh yeah, this is it. And it's like, And for what reason do you not choose something that's going to create a greater possibility for you, your family, and your child? And it's like, so everything that is and everything that doesn't allow you to actually choose what's going to create greater possibilities for your entire family, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because there's a whole lot more available. And one of the things I'm always talking about too is this is your life. And it's like, so this is your life. Are you actually living it to the extent that you would like to? This is not a dry run, you know. This is it. It's like, so if your kid's not happy, and it's like, why not try something different and see if something else could work? So Miss Diva Diaz, she's also on the call here, who I imagine after my Spanish lessons, I'm going to be just talking Spanish to you, Diva, when we work together. It'll just be like, oh.
That's exactly how I envision it.
So you actually speak Spanish because your mother's Colombian, correct?
Correct, yeah. My parents are Colombian.
Can you give me one of those little accents that you do that's like the lady from Modern Family?
Do you mean this accent where I sound very Colombian?
Oh, nice. See how sexy that is? So if you would like to put more sex into your life and sound sexier, maybe you should be signing up for the Espanol school or the French. I mean, hello. And it's like, French sounds so great. We don't actually have our French teacher on here at the moment. She's caught up in doing something else, but she will be teaching French. And she's also going to go through a lot of things like, I think she's going to end up doing like a French cooking class. So it's like talking about all the food elements, etc.
It's French through the senses. Yeah.
French through the senses. Oh, yeah. How exotic is that? I love it.
And she spoke briefly about it and her, like, the history behind the words, and she was talking about, like, why the barber pole is red and white, and she just listening to her talk about it is inspirational.
She's amazing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, her name's Simone as well, Simone Padura, so she must be pretty cool. No. No, I love Simone. She's great. And it's like, I'm so excited about, like I said before, it's like, you know, I think you guys are amazing. All the teachers, everyone involved in it is just simply awesome. And it's like the talents and capacities you have, I am in awe of what that looks like. So Diva, and it's like, you've been more on the creative side of, you know, adding things and changing things, etc. Tell me about how you see like the, you know, the energy of the creation of the school and how that's looked and what's happened.
Yeah. You know, I have to say, like, this has been such an amazing journey that's still, you know, ongoing, just in the sense of, like, the joy of creation, which, I mean, it's been so different to so many different things that I've worked on, and so different to the way that I think most people in the world would function, because, you know, we'd start with an idea, we'd all kind of be, like, gung-ho working on it, and if it didn't work, then we'd be like, oh, let's just scrap it, you know, and do something different. And it's almost like until we sit back and we go, oh, isn't that funny that we were willing and able to change at the drop of a dime to actually do what works? That's kind of like when we would notice that we were doing that. But other than that, it was kind of following the energy, which is, you know, doing what works rather than trying to force something into existence. I mean, even when the new edition came about of the adult classes, I think, like, for so many of us, it just, like, expanded everything in the sense that it became, like, just this, not a relief, but you know that energy where everything is just like, oh, that feels so much better. And I love that, because that to me is so the energy of creation, like what creation is. You know, it's like, if something isn't working, what else can you add rather than giving up? You know, or giving.
Well, and just to add into that too, Diva, because one of the things that we've all sort of missed out saying on this show is, which was a really key element, I think, is in the class, I was sort of asking, we've had so many people interested in the school. We've done these, you know, test drives, and it's like we've shown people different, you know, how it works and everything. And we've had so many parents saying that they're interested. And it's like, what makes them sort of press that buy button and sort of register their kid? And I was talking about it in class and asking questions, and it's like, what action sort of is required next? And Gary was saying, you know, call everyone, and we have. And then he goes, all right, shut the school down. And that energy of willing to lose it and the energy of willing to actually shut something down was quite interesting, because everybody you have to be at that place with your business continuously. The willingness to lose it, the willingness to close it down. And as soon as that happened, and then we asked another question about the language, it was like, all right, cool. It's a school for adults and it's a language school. And we changed it instantaneously. And then we went, okay, so do we still want to keep the kids' school? Yes. And as soon as we did, we had registrations. So it's
right.
like, you know, it started showing up and it started changing. But the willingness that everybody had to go, oh, we have to be willing to lose the entirety of this project. And it's like, that's what also changed the energy is what I see too.
It changed the energy of it has to be this way, right? And it opened up so many doors about different ways that it could be. And that's what's evolving right now. It's sort of hard to describe what it is because there's so many other programs that are coming that teachers have been asking about either in this country or in other countries, different ages. It looks as if it may be. I mean, one of the realizations that I had is how much most parents rely on the school system as a babysitting function for themselves. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but when kids are in school for 6 or 7 hours a day, including the school bus ride, it gives parents a chance to do other stuff, like to work or to get a break from them or whatever.
I know exactly
right?
what that's like. Because when we're at home, Brendan and I are working from home all the time, and sometimes you're like, where did the morning go? And it's like doing the school run and getting, you know, the lunch and making sure everything's done. And then before you know it, and you know what I also do? I have to set an alarm to pick Nash up. And I remember feeling really bad about that. And then Claudia, someone who we work with, also is like, oh no, don't worry, I do it every day too. Because it's like, just in case I forget to pick him up, like you don't know what time it is. So, but before you know it, you're picking him up. And I'm really lucky. Like Nash is amazing and he's very, very capable of looking after himself and entertaining himself. And he's very used to walking out. And if I'm on a call like I am now, he tiptoes around and he'll come up behind me and like kiss me on the cheek or something. But he knows that I have a bit of an odd job and he won't sort of come out making lots of noise if we're on the phone because he's like, oh, they're on a radio show or they're on an interview or a telecall or something. So he sort of learns to work with us. But it's true. It's like we like having the time when he goes to school because it's like then we, you know, sort of not get more done, but it's like you don't feel like you always got to check on, you know, if Nash is okay. So I get that is something that is coming up for people that go into the online school. And I also get that if you're currently homeschooling and you're sort of, you know, doubting or having that place where maybe the homeschooling isn't enough for your child, then this is a professional school with professional teachers that takes that away. Your kids will still be at school, but they're actually being taught by teachers around the world. And the thing I love about this too is it's like, I mean, we were talking about having, you know, pen pals. I don't know if you guys ever had one, but I had one when I, you know, was a kid, actually handwriting. So you could practice the handwriting as well, you know. I mean, they might scan it, I don't know, and send it off. But it's like they're going to get to meet kids from all over the world. And it's like, that's such an incredible opportunity. So anyway, we've got one more break.
Hi, I'm Katrina Kavanagh, host of the I Am Wisdom radio show. I Am Wisdom is about the connection between mind work and energy work, spirituality and living a wonderful life. Looking forward to sharing each Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with you.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
The Laying On of Hands Healing Radio Show is about treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Join me, Charles Smith, as I share life-balancing measures such as nutrition and spiritual practices to help you take charge of your own health and wellness every Thursday at 7 p.m. on OMTimes Radio.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Joy of Business, Simone Milasas, and with my bunch of guests. So that's what I've decided that a lot of guests is called, is a bunch. And the good thing is too, I remember we were talking about like at the school, and it's like, I mean, you've got someone from Australia coming on talking about all the animals in Australia, and then someone from Canada talking about all the Canadian animals, and it's like South Africa, and it's like this school is going to expand and expand and expand, and it's like what a way to learn about geography all over the school from, you know, people being there and being able to talk about it. Because when I drop Nash off at school at the moment, if you go early enough, you see kangaroos, and it's like, but we sort of get so blasé about it. It's like, okay, there's more kangaroos. To somebody else, it's like, oh my goodness, kangaroos. So, you know, there's so much to offer to so many people. So one of the last things in this last break that I wanted to sort of bring up too, and it's like which one of you or want to add to it, is about the tutoring and the extracurricular programs that we will have available, and we do have available. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I'll start or add to that. You know, one of the things is I've worked with families and kids, you know, that oftentimes in the school year, like the kids may enjoy their school, and then there's an element where it might be the teacher, it might be the subject, where either the parents or sometimes even it's coming from the school that the kid is quote unquote struggling. And so the gift of tutoring, I'll just speak to that first, is that there is a space, and with the access consciousness tools and the team that we have, like that space of creating this ease with the kids, of getting to know where they may be quote unquote stuck, and you know, working with them with the subject and the tools. I've just seen amazing results. So, you know, I'll be tutoring Spanish and also math at, you know, all the way through high school level, and also Spanish from beginners to advanced. So that'll be available.
Who's doing English?
Me.
So then you're the one that'll get Nash.
Okay.
He's a whiz at math. He's really good at math. He's like, you know, he's great at it.
Awesome.
It's like, it's the English and stuff that he's like, his point of view is always like, why do I have to learn to read? And it's like, well, do you want to actually know how to play video games? And it's like, what can I say?
There's a lot of video games where like all of the information is in text. Like how to play the game is all written out. And we're also doing extracurricular activities. So, the science program, and we have some other extracurriculars. So the Spanish classes for adults, I think, and correct me if I'm mistaken, Sylvia had spoken about doing a Spanish class for kids as well.
Yes.
And a science program, and a big part of the school is really the joy of learning and having that. I know all of the teachers have that, and bringing that to kids and sharing that with kids and adults and adults now too. So those programs are really about the fun of learning and playing with education as well. So for kids, just because.
So one of the questions I have as a parent, I'm now a client, and it's like, as a parent, it's like, how much do you say, Adele, if I was signing Nash up for English tutoring, and it's like, what sort of period of time do you think works? Like, you know, 30 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes? How do you engage a kid just with one kid?
Yeah, so it's about, so like reading, for example, there's so many different ways and places where we read. So, and I think Simone had mentioned this, like reading doesn't necessarily have to be a novel. It can be comic books. It can be a magazine. So, you know, there's magazines on every subject. It's what interests you, what interests Nash, and then finding a way to bridge that and engage his interest.
You know, that's so funny because it was a few years ago. He's reading this book to me, and we're talking about reading and stuff, and he just looked at me and he went, "It's so boring." And I had nothing to say to him because I was like, "I know." The book that they'd given him at school was just so boring, and I was like, "I'm so sorry." And it was like, okay, so what can we find that's actually more interesting? I mean, I know he likes Minecraft and stuff and the building. You know, he's such a boy. And I'm driving into school one day, and he's telling me about how he knows that there's 3 types of sandstone that you can build in and that. And I'm like, and that's from playing his Minecraft game. So I do think, I think you're so correct. And it's like, how can you find out what your kids love and get them to read things like that? I mean, Simone Milasas, our wonderful, you know, French teacher amongst many other things, is the one that's not on here today, but she's actually written a book, which is brilliant. And it's called Things That Go Bump in the Night. And it's like, it's one of the best books I've read about, you know, the ghosts and things like that, that if kids perceive that energy, and it's like, what is that? And what do you do with it? So you can actually get that book on accessconsciousness.com, Things That Go Bump in the Night. And it's like, what if there was more kids' books available that were, you know, interesting, or like you said, the comics, etc. So if people actually want to sign up for the tutoring, they don't have to be attending the school. They can just sign up for like 30 minutes, an hour or something like that each week or whenever you like, and test it out and see if that works for you. You can go to accesspossibilityschool.com, and there's a programs tab, and it's like you can go to the programs tab and then you can find out there. And if you have difficulty finding anything out, just go to accesspossibilityschool.com and click the connect to us button, and we'll find somebody. Yeah. They contact us, and we'll find somebody who can help you out. So we've got a few more minutes left here. Yes, Christine.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something else about the tutoring. I have done a lot of tutoring, and usually the sessions were an hour. And what I found was that things overlap. They may sign up to come for English tutoring, yet other things come up about school, about friends, about homework. So people don't have to just sign up for one particular subject. They could sign up for homework help also, which would connect everything or whatever is going on that particular day.
Cool. I like that. How does it get any better than that? So there's infinite possibilities available.
Yes.
So what else would you guys like to let everybody know out there? And it's like the business of educating people, and it's like, oh, what have I not asked you? It's like, what else would you like to add, any of you guys?
So one of the things is that it's not an all or nothing. It's not either your child is going to be enrolled with us full time, or they're not going to be able to take advantage of any of the programs that we have. People can come in with any level of intensity or any degree of involvement that they would like, or that fits for them and for their kids and for their families. And we really are like an all-inclusive program. People don't get rejected, right? In an admissions process in a typical private school, there's usually a cutoff point where some kids get in and some kids don't. That's not true for us. There is no selection, if you will. Anybody who's interested can enroll. Anybody can join. We welcome everybody.
Gosh, you just brought me back to when I went to do my interview, and I went to a private school in Sydney, and my mother was so cranky at me because I was playing with this, you know, those things that you, oh gosh, you know, if the toilet's stuck or whatever, and you suck, you know, what are they called?
A plunger.
A plunger, thank you, yeah. It wasn't a toilet plunger, but as a kid I was playing with it, and I wanted to see what would happen if I put it on my eye. So I put it on my eye, and I took it off, and all my blood vessels went bright red. So I had the white of my eye was all bright red, and Mum was so embarrassed because I was going to the school for this interview, and I'm sitting there with this bright red eye. So did you get in? What about me? Yeah, I got in. They probably felt sorry for me. I don't know.
Your mom was so mad at you.
And maybe it worked to my advantage. I'm not sure, but yeah, good Catholic school. Exactly. So how should getting down on that? Anything can show up. So I am, like I said, I'm really grateful for all of you guys, and it's like I'm super excited about my Spanish lesson. And if there's anything also, if you're listening to this show that you desire to find out, or it's like, or you think, oh, I wish they had that, let us know, because we've got a whole bunch of requests from all over the world. And the thing is about business and about the school is when the demand is there, and it's like, what if you created from that? Because I see so many people go, oh, I'm going to create this, this, and this. And it's like, but you've got to be willing to have a look at the energy of where the demand is as well. And it's like, so what's the use of creating something if nobody wants it? And it's like, so who's asking for what, you know? And we've got a whole bunch of people asking for different things. I mean, we have someone who could be teaching German and Russian as well. So it's like, you know, There's a whole lot of kids out there that want to learn Russian. It's like, we have the means to do it. And it's like working with Access Consciousness. We have people all over the world, contacts all over the world. So there's so many different things that we can create. So this school is for the world. It's global. It's launching on the 8th of September, and we are super excited about it. and there are so many more possibilities that, are available, and I am hugely, hugely, hugely grateful to each and every single one of you, and it's been so much fun working with you guys and creating the business of the school. And who knows what's possible? What's next?
That's exactly right. Yes. That's what's so fun about this. I wake up every day and it's like, okay, and now what? And now what? And there's always some new thing. There's another phone call. We have these Skype threads. Okay, do we have just 1 second? Like getting us all together.
2 minutes.
Okay, getting us all together. There are 2 in California, 1 in Houston, 2 on the East Coast, 2 in the UK, 1 in New Zealand, and you in Australia if you're not all around the world. And so getting us all on a call together is actually a lot easier than it sounds, but 4 p.m. Houston time is the time that works for everybody, so nobody's in the middle of the night and nobody else is like 4 o'clock in the morning like that. But those kinds of things, it's so much fun. And when the vendors find out about all that, whenever we shop new products or whatever, it just creates this incredible excitement. We really are global and so much fun. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. That's what creating with us is like. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. I like it.
That's how we roll. It is.
And one last thought before we go. If you want to create your business as global, and it's like, it may actually be just as simple as expanding the zone of awareness of your business. And it's like, how do you do that? You just do it. And it's like, for me, it's like get the outside edges of it and expand it right out across the entire planet so that every single person on the planet can know that your business exists, and it opens up to greater possibilities all around the world. So, it's a great tool to use, and I welcome it, and we're supposed to be going to a break really soon. So give me a great question that people can start to ask to create their business to be more. All of you. Anne, what have you got?
So what can I be or do different today to create the business that I would love to have, and that I actually...
And that's it. One question. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye.